Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's meeting of the Public Facilities Commission. I'm Catherine Craven, the chair, and with me today is my other commissioner,
Larry Mamoli.
Thank you. I'll turn this over to you guys.
Morning, commissioners. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast live. Before we get started, I've asked Colleen Daly, the PFC secretary, to take a roll call of the meeting participants. Colleen, if you would please conduct the roll call.
Thank you, TT. Please unmute your device and confirm your presence when I call your name, beginning roll call with the commission. Catherine Craven.
Present.
Larry Mamoli, commissioner.
Present.
TT Lee, legal advisor.
Present.
Catherine Pendleton, article clerk.
Present.
And with PFD, Kerry Griffin, director.
Present.
Robertson Castor, project manager 2.
Present.
James McQueen, senior project manager.
Present.
I'll read for the record the remainder of the individuals in attendance. Attendees do not need to unmute the device when the name is called. Mary Silvera, assistant director for construction.
Present.
Dana DiMatteo, assistant director for construction.
Present.
Thank you. This concludes roll call.
Thank you, Colleen. The first order of business before you this morning concerns draft meeting minutes for the Mayor's Office of Housing from the prior meeting, which took place on February 16, 2022. Is there a motion to approve these meeting minutes?
Motion to approve.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
The meeting minutes of February 16 for MOA are hereby approved. This morning with the Public Facilities Department, we have Kerry Griffin of PFD. PFD has two out requests on the agenda for vote number 1 is being presented by Robertson Castor, project manager with PFD. Vote number 1 concerns a contract award to Udinzello Architects LLC to provide architectural design and construction administration services associated with Fields Corner Branch project located at 1520 Dorchester, New Dorchester. Recommended at $1,990,065 for 100 if executed.
Sorry, actually, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Robertson, would you please present your vote request?
Thank you. Good morning, commissioners.
Morning.
The following information provides an overview of the Fields Corner Branch Library, also known as the project, which is being brought before you for a vote of approval to award a design and construction administrative services contract to Udinzello Architecture. The scope of services consists of design development, construction document development, cost estimating, scheduling, and construction administrative services. The Fields Corner Branch Library will be built as a replacement library for the existing building. The new library is programmed for approximately 14,700 gross square feet as a 2-story building. The concept for the new library was conceived in collaboration with the Public Facilities Department and Boston Public Library that adheres to the Compass principle as defined by the BPL and the evolving needs of the community. The project will qualify for LEED Silver certification, and due to the new ordinance from December 11, 2019, this building is required to be net zero carbon. A comprehensive building systems design process will be needed from the very beginning of the design phase to achieve the LEED and NZC goals. Public participation and presentations will be required as part of the project process. Udinzello was selected for the design study services by the request for qualifications from Mass General Law, Chapter 7C, Sections 44 through 57 cross-steps. Contract for the study design services included an option to retain the selected designer from the public procurement process to provide complete design and construction administration services. At this moment, I'd like to ask the commissioners if I would read the recap in full, or should I go directly to where we discuss where I can speak on the evaluation process for construction and design.
I think the evaluation process would be great. The memos, just for the public watching, the memos are all in print and all publicly available, so.
So I'll jump down to the evaluation process for the construction.
I'm sorry to, Robertson, it may be helpful if you give a brief overview of the background in addition to how this all started.
Sure, not a problem.
Thank you.
The goal of the study was to produce a recommended master plan for the Fields Cornell Branch Library. The study included a mixed-use assessment, comprehensive code review, existing conditions assessment, library space program, fit test, recommendations for new sustainable building systems, community meetings, and a detailed cost estimate. Public meetings and presentations were included in the design services. There were 11 RFQs that were submitted on May 31st of 2018. The selection committee consisted of Maureen Anderson, a Senior Project Manager for Public Facilities Department, Evan Brinkman, Senior Design Review Architect for Public Facilities Department, Paul Donnelly, Assistant Director, PFD as well, Allison Ford, Major Projects Program Manager from the Boston Public Library, Eamon Shelton, Chief of Operations for the Boston, and Marcy Oxford, the Housing Innovation Lab Director, Department of Neighborhood Development. The aforementioned SOQs were reviewed on June 22nd of 2018 and discussed amongst the designer selection committee members. Thereafter, each member evaluated and rated the SOQs using the evaluation criteria stated in the public RFQ. Next, the rankings were tallied by the design selection administrator, and the following firms were shortlisted and ranked in order of appropriateness for the project. The rankings were based on qualifications and experience with programming and facility studies for the libraries. Shortlisted firms were Odinzello Architecture, LLC, Util Incorporated, and Sasaki Associates. On June 22nd, 2018, the Odinzello Architecture, LLC was recommended as the top-ranked firm for the project. As a result of the firm's experience with other library projects, engineering team, Show Bryan Consulting as the library consultant, Road Architect Incorporated for mixed-use design consulting experience. On February 14, 2020, Odinzello issued its findings from the feasibility study, which are codified in an analysis, programming, and recommendations report. Noted therein was the inclusion of a construction cost estimate for the city's budget review. Based on the findings stated in the report, the BPL selected and prioritized the project to proceed during the city's capital budget process. Thereafter, the city's Office of Budget Management approved funding for the design and construction of the project in the 2022 fiscal year budget hearings. Because PFD reserved its legal right to retain the selected designer from the public procurement process to provide complete design and construction administration services for a resulting project, PFD considered the following: benefits to the city, saving time and cost from a new designer selection process, feasibility study designers performance. During the study phase, high recommendations were reported by the city's team from PFD and BPL. Project schedule. The current designer is familiar with the BPL's needs, able to eliminate pre-designed conferences for the schematic design deliverables already produced. In conclusion, for the foregoing reasons, I am seeking the Public Facilities Commission's approval to award a design services contract, Odinzello Architecture, LLC. I look forward to discussion and any questions you may have. Thank you for your time and review of the support.
Any questions, Commissioner Mahoney? You're on mute.
Sorry. What is the estimated construction cost for the project?
Roughly $14 million.
Okay. And the other issue, which obviously with us in the city going into all these new net zero buildings and so forth, will this consultant be designing or putting together an appropriate maintenance package? Because it's always great to build new buildings, but if we don't maintain them afterwards or have proper maintenance, they quickly fall apart. And we lose all of our net zero capabilities and so forth. So is there, as part of this design contract, for lack of better words, a maintenance and operations manual that they'll put together for whoever's doing the building maintenance, which in this case I assume is the library?
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, as part of the scope of services and as part of the collaboration between the sustainables engineer, the MEP consultants, and the design architects of record, there is scope covered for an extensive maintenance package, as well as working with the commissioning agent to develop that package.
Okay. No other questions? I put a motion to approve.
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Vote number 1 is hereby approved. Vote number 2 is being presented by James McQueen, Senior Project Manager with PFD. Vote number 2 concerns an amendment to the vote of October 20th, 2021 regarding a contract with Raymond Design Associates Incorporated to provide design and construction administration services associated with the 2021 Massachusetts School Building Authority's Accelerated Repairs Program project. The request is for an increase of $978,166.80 to the design services contract with the time extension to the contract's expiration date through December 31st, 2024. James, if you would please present your vote request.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm
Morning.
here morning to request an amendment to the Professional Design and Construction Administration Services contract with Raymond Design Associates, Inc. for the Patrick J. Kennedy renovation project. The Public Facilities Department is managing the design and construction of the project, which is located at 343 Saratoga Street in East Boston. Raymond Design Associates, Inc. was retained to provide design and construction administration services for the project. Originally, the boiler and window replacement at the Patrick J. Kennedy and Samuel Adams School, which included scheduling, cost estimating, overseeing site coordination and conditions, and preparing the schematic design submission to the MSBA for review and establishment of the project scope and budget agreement. An AVR was approved in October 2021, expanding the scope of the project beyond the initial proposed window and boiler replacement to include full compliance with the triggered architectural barrier board accessibility and building code requirements through the design of additions to each building, including elevators, stairs, toilets, as well as interior renovations. This expanded the estimated costs from about $2.1 million to about $18.6 million, and extended the schematic design delivery date from October 28, 2021 to January 3rd, 2022. It was subsequently determined that the windows at the Samuel Adams School were less than 35 years old, and so did not meet the criteria for inclusion in the MSBA ARP project program, and consequently the MSBA required the city and the Boston Public Schools to withdraw their 2020 statement of interest for inclusion in the ARP program. Additionally, BPS desired to consider additional program scope at the Patrick J. Kennedy School, and as a result, the MSBA determined that the project would no longer comply with their program requirements and required the city and BPS to withdraw their 2020 statement of interest. Because the boiler at the Patrick J. Kennedy School still needs to be replaced, and in consideration of BPS's long-term commitment to this building, we are here today to request an extension of RDA's professional architectural and engineering services scope to include final design, construction documents, bidding, construction administration, and closeout for the Patrick J. Kennedy renovations, which will consist of the boiler replacement, the addition, the upgrade, and interior renovation and upgrade project, as defined by the schematic design submission. The project will be performed in 2 phases. The first will be the boiler replacement to be done over the course of this summer to be online in time for the beginning of next fall's heating season. The second phase will consist of the addition and renovations to the existing building and will follow a more typical design and construction schedule. The boiler replacement at the Patrick J. Kennedy School has remained a prime requirement for BPS, but subsequent to the submission and in consideration of their commitment that's being made for ADA and required upgrades, it continues to be a high priority. If I may direct your attention to the PowerPoint slide, this slide depicts the Patrick Chase Kennedy School exterior. In accordance with the project's publicly advertised RFQ guidelines for design fee calculation, PFD and Raymond Design Associates negotiated services not to exceed $978,166.80 with completion of the remaining work to be done and the final payment made on or before December 31st, 2024. In conclusion, I'm seeking the PFC's approval to amend the Professional Design and Construction Administration Services contract with Raymond Design Associates, Inc. for the reasons presented, which are also noted in the project background memorandum submitted with this vote request. I welcome the opportunity to answer any questions you may have. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Jim. Any questions, Commissioner Malone?
Just clarification, there is no boiler work at the Samuel Adams Elementary School. That's why it's being deleted totally.
That's correct.
Okay. No further questions. Motion to approve.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Ayes have it.
Vote number 2 is hereby approved. This concludes PFD's agenda for today's meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn this portion of the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded. All in favor of adjourning this portion of the meeting? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.